Money is not ruled by chance. It is ruled by law, unseen, exact, and unfailing. If you obey these laws, your supply will never fail. First law, the law of mind's command. Your money obeys your thought. Every word you speak is a command to your finances. Speak poverty, and it will obey. Speak abundance, and it will obey. Your fortune begins in your tongue. Second law, the law of divine supply. The universe holds infinite wealth. There is no shortage, no famine in spirit. You cannot take from another, you can only take from the infinite storehouse that belongs to all. Declare that supply is yours now and act as one who knows it. Third law, the law of giving and circulation. Money is a current. Hoard it in fear, and you choke the flow. Give freely in faith, and it returns multiplied. Your hand must be open to receive. Fourth law, the law of faith and expectation. Doubt is the thief of riches. Expect money to come, calmly, without strain. Faith is the magnet, expectation is the open door. Fifth law, the law of gratitude and praise. Praise every coin you have. Thank the unseen for the seen. Gratitude multiplies your seed, and praise waters the harvest. Sixth law, the law of obedience to intuition. Your inner voice is the guide to your gold. Obey instantly when it directs. Delay is disobedience, and disobedience blocks the channel. Seventh law, the law of divine right action. Act now in faith. Take the steps before you. Right action draws to you the right people, the right opportunities, the right provision. These 7 laws are the keys. Break them, and your finances stumble. Keep them, and your supply will never fail. The laws are exact. The results are certain. Your money is under your command. When you are under divine law, your money obeys your thought. It does not follow your effort first. It follows your mind. The world will teach you that money answers to work, to struggle, to schemes, but the truth is that it moves according to the command you give it in thought and word. Every fortune ever built was built first in the invisible realm. Every bankruptcy was also born there. What you think, you call. What you speak, you seal. If your inner conversation is filled with fear, doubt, and complaint, your finances will shrink to obey your command. If your inner conversation is rich with expectation, certainty, and praise, your finances will rise to obey your command. The laws of spirit never fail, and money is not outside those laws. You are the captain of your financial ship, and the rudder is your mind. You cannot steer toward lack and arrive at abundance. The rudder must be fixed toward wealth, security, freedom. Every word you speak about money is a prophecy. Say, I never have enough, and the unseen hears it as an order to withhold. Say, I am always provided for, and the unseen hears it as an order to increase. The mind holds the blueprint, and life builds the structure exactly as you design it. You may be surrounded by evidence of lack, but the command you give with your mind is more powerful than the evidence before your eyes. Sight is the servant. Vision is the master. If you keep your command fixed on plenty, the visible world will rearrange to obey it. The invisible substance of supply is listening for your voice. It has no will of its own. It obeys the strongest impression. Your fear is an impression. Your faith is an impression. Whichever is stronger becomes the mold that shapes your results. This law does not ask whether you are worthy, talented, or educated. It responds only to the conviction of your thought. If you imagine wealth as something far from you, it remains far. If you imagine it as present now, it becomes present. Your command is not given once. It is given every hour, with every word you say about your finances. People speak of money as hard to get, as slipping away, as never enough, and then live inside the prison they built with their own tongue. They wonder why their efforts fail. They are violating the first law without knowing it. They are commanding poverty while working for prosperity. You cannot send mixed orders and expect a clear delivery. The law responds to clarity. If you want wealth, you must speak wealth. If you want plenty, you must picture plenty. If you want freedom, you must live in thought as though it is already yours. This is not pretending, it is commanding. Pretending plays with words without belief. Commanding speaks with the authority of one who knows the unseen must obey. A king does not hope his decree will be carried out. He issues it knowing it will be done. That is the tone you must take with your thought. You are the ruler of your inner kingdom, and money is one of your subjects. You tell it where to go, how to come, and in what measure to appear. If you say money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways, you open 1,000 doors for its arrival. If you say money is always scarce, you close those same doors and watch opportunity pass you by. The universe is literal. It takes you at your word. It does not edit your command, it fulfills it. You cannot whisper wealth and shout lack. The loudest feeling wins. Your tone toward money must be as constant as the sun, steady and unwavering. Doubt is the shadow that blurs your command. Faith is the light that keeps it sharp. Each time you speak lack, you cancel the wealth you have already called forth. Each time you speak wealth, you erase the lack you have allowed. This is why some live in cycles of feast and famine. They alternate their command between faith and fear. But the law does not choose, it obeys. You choose by the command you give. The law cannot fail. It is you who must choose the order you want carried out. There is no one who cannot change his financial condition by changing his inner command. History is filled with those who rose from nothing because they refused to speak or think like the poor. They aligned their thought with riches before the riches appeared. They did not let the evidence of their senses overrule the authority of their mind. They kept the image of abundance so clear, so constant, that the outer world had no choice but to mirror it. The same law that answered them will answer you. It makes no exceptions. To use this law, begin with the words you speak now. Stop speaking poverty. Stop rehearsing your troubles. Every time you do, you are signing for another delivery of lack. Speak instead the provision you desire. Say it until it feels natural. Say it until it feels foolish not to believe it. Say it until the tone of your mind changes from pleading to commanding. Let no idle word cross your lips against your prosperity. Your mouth is the seal on your order form. You would not order one thing from a store and then send a letter canceling it the next day. Yet many do this with their finances, calling for wealth in the morning and canceling it with worry by night. Hold the command. Guard it as you would guard treasure, for that is what it is. The thought you repeat becomes the reality you meet. If you would change your fortune, you must first change your command. The law is perfect. It does not choose for you. It only obeys. There is no shortage in the divine. The idea of lack is a human invention, and it disappears the moment you refuse to believe it. The supply of the universe is infinite, unmeasured, and inexhaustible, and every soul is entitled to its share. You do not compete for it. You do not take it from another. It flows directly from the source of all, and no man or circumstance can block what belongs to you by divine right. The ocean of supply is full, and it responds to the vessel you hold out to receive it. If you hold out a thimble of belief, you take in a thimble of provision. If you hold out a great cistern of faith, you take in a flood. The source does not limit, the receiver does. The law is exact. You will always receive according to your capacity to expect. To understand this law is to see that poverty is not caused by the universe's failure to provide. It is caused by man's failure to claim. The fields are always ripe, the barn is always full, the table is always set. But if you walk past with eyes shut, you will call the world empty, while abundance stands at your side. You cannot claim what you believe does not exist. If you see wealth only in the hands of others, you will walk away empty-handed, not because you are denied, but because you never reached for your portion. The divine storehouse holds enough gold to fill every hand, enough ideas to build every fortune, enough opportunities to lift every life. The supply is already here. You do not wait for it to be created, you only wait for your recognition of it. This law does not operate in time, it operates in consciousness. When you open your mind to plenty, the supply that has been waiting for you rushes in. It is not drawn from the stock of the world, it is drawn from the infinite. If the entire earth took hold of their portion tonight, there would still be more tomorrow. The storehouse cannot be emptied, the spring cannot run dry. This is why the law demands that you think in terms of abundance, not rationing. If you act as though there is only so much to go around, you close the door to more. But when you know that increase is endless, you dare to ask largely, you dare to expect beyond your present sight, and the law answers accordingly. Your part is to claim, not to question. The moment you begin to calculate whether there is enough, you step into doubt, and doubt is the signal to stop the flow. But when you claim boldly, you open the channel wide. You cannot take what is yours by timid half-hope. You must stand in the authority of one who knows that the source itself backs your request. A child does not beg the sun for light, he walks in it as his birthright. So too must you walk in the supply that is yours by divine right. Every bird in the air, every flower in the field lives by this law without question. They take no thought for whether there will be enough. They act as though it is already enough, and so it is. Man's trouble begins when he turns his eyes from the source to the store. He counts what is in his purse and decides that is all there is. He measures by the world instead of by the infinite. But the law is not bound by the number in your account. The law is bound only by the measure of your faith. If you believe for little, you receive little. If you believe for much, you receive much. This is not magic, it is law, as fixed and unfailing as gravity. You may see no visible channel for your supply, but that is no obstacle. The source has 1,000 ways to reach you. It can open a door you never knew existed. It can place you in the path of a man who has the very thing you need. It can bring ideas, inspiration, opportunities that turn into wealth. You are never to concern yourself with the channel, only with the source. The channel is the path the supply takes, the source is where it comes from, and the source never runs dry. To live by this law is to refuse the language of lack. You no longer say, "I can't afford it," for such words seal your claim to poverty. You speak instead, "The supply is on its way," and you act as one who knows it. You no longer limit your requests to what you think is possible in human terms. You request what is yours in divine terms, which are without limit. You no longer shrink your vision to match your current resources. You lift your vision to match the infinite resources of the source. The law answers the size of your vision, not the size of your purse. You cannot break this law, you can only work against it. If you work with it, you live in a constant flow of increase. If you work against it, you live in the illusion of lack. The choice is always yours. When you live with the awareness that the divine supply is unlimited, fear loses its grip. You stop clinging to money as though it is all you will ever have, because you know more is always arriving. You stop competing with others for scraps, because you know there is enough for all. You stop envying the wealth of others, because you know their supply takes nothing from yours. You move from survival to creation, from hoarding to circulation, from limitation to expansion. In the presence of infinite supply, your only task is to open wider, to receive more boldly, to give more freely, knowing that the flow is constant. You cannot exhaust it, you cannot outrun it, you cannot overdraw it. The divine does not measure out supply with a spoon, but with the endlessness of the ocean. If you will hold your vessel high, if you will refuse the thought of lack, if you will claim your portion without apology, the law will deliver it in the right time, the right way, and in the right measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Money is a current, and a current must move. The moment you lock it away in fear, you break its law, and it begins to die in your hands. All life flows, all life circulates. The river that stops becomes a swamp. The blood that stops becomes decay. Money is no different. It lives when it moves, and it grows when it flows. If you give with a clenched heart, you plant seeds in stone. If you give with joy, you plant seeds in rich soil, and the harvest must return multiplied. Giving is not loss, it is planting. You cannot plant a field of generosity and reap a crop of poverty. The law of giving and circulation makes it impossible. Fear is the dam in the stream. It is the thought that says, "If I let go of this, I will have less." But the law of circulation says, "If you let go of this, you will make room for more." The farmer who refuses to plant because he wants to keep his seed ends the season with nothing but the seed he clung to. The one who plants sees the seed return in hundreds, in thousands. Giving is the planting, circulation is the growth. The more freely you give, the more freely you receive. The hand that is closed to give is closed to receive. You cannot receive with a fist. You must open the hand, open the heart, open the flow. There are those who give only when they think they can spare it, and they live in constant scarcity. They wait for abundance before they give, not knowing that abundance waits for their giving. The law responds to movement, not stagnation. When you give, you send your supply into motion. and that motion returns to you increased. You are not diminished by what you give, you are multiplied by it. Every gift carries your name in the unseen, and it finds its way back with interest. Give fearfully and you reap fear. Give joyfully and you reap joy. Give with resentment and you reap resistance. The spirit in which you give determines the quality of what comes back. This law works in money, in ideas, in help, in kindness. Hold your ideas to yourself and they wither, share them and they expand. Refuse to help another because you fear losing your own advantage, and you shut the door to help when you need it. Give your time, your talent, your encouragement, and they will come back in ways you cannot predict. The law does not fail. What you release returns. It may not return from the one you gave to, but it will return from somewhere, for the source has endless channels. To live by this law is to give as naturally as you breathe. The breath you exhale is the breath that makes room for the next inhale. Try holding your breath to keep it, and you will suffocate. So too with money. Let it out, and it comes back. Hold it in fear, and it stops. You cannot receive more than you are willing to let go. Giving enlarges the channel through which your supply flows. The more you give, the larger the channel, the greater the return. This law does not ask you to give foolishly, but to give faithfully. It is not about emptying yourself to prove virtue, it is about acting in alignment with abundance. You give because you know you cannot outgive the source. You give because you trust the law to keep the flow alive. You give because giving is proof to your own mind that you live in an abundant universe. Every gift is a declaration of faith, and faith is the magnet for return. The miser's house is filled with hidden coins, but his life is empty. The generous man's purse may open often, but his table is never bare. The law makes it so. If you wish to increase your income, increase your giving. Give to those who inspire you, to causes that lift the world, to people who need a hand. Give where your spirit feels alive in the giving, and give without keeping score. The law will do the counting for you. Do not give with the thought that this particular person must repay you. Give with the certainty that the universe itself is your debtor, and the universe always pays its debts with interest. Do not despise the small gift, for the seed is always smaller than the tree. Give what you can with the spirit of what you will give when you have more. If you give a small coin as though it were a fortune, you train your mind for fortune. If you give a fortune as though it were nothing, you train your mind for even greater wealth. The law responds to the consciousness in which the gift is given. A gift from a rich heart is richer than a gift from a rich purse. Circulation is the proof of life. Your money must circulate through giving, through buying, through paying, through blessing, through rewarding. And as it circulates, it gathers new energy, new connections, new opportunities, and returns to you in forms you could never have planned. This is why hoarding is the death of wealth. Hoarding is a denial of the law. It is declaring there is no more coming, and so the flow stops. Giving is the affirmation of the law. It is declaring there is always more coming, and so the flow grows stronger. Every act of giving is an act of faith. It is planting in the unseen and trusting the harvest to come. It is refusing to worship the seed, and instead worshiping the source that makes the seed multiply. And as surely as the farmer trusts the soil to return his planted seed in multiplied form, you must trust the law of giving and circulation to return your gift pressed down, shaken together and running over. The law cannot fail. The only thing that can fail is your willingness to obey it. Faith is the currency of the unseen, and expectation is the hand that spends it. Without faith, the richest opportunities pass you by. For you cannot receive what you do not believe exists for you. Faith is not wishful thinking, it is the deep, immovable knowing that what you desire is already moving toward you. Expectation is the stance of one who is prepared to receive. Together they form the law that governs the size and speed of your supply. Faith calls the thing. Expectation opens the door when it arrives. Without expectation, faith is like sending out an invitation and then leaving your house locked. Without faith, expectation is an empty gesture with nothing to receive. What you expect is what you meet. You do not get what you want, you get what you expect. Wanting is often tinged with doubt, but expectation stands certain. The one who expects wealth speaks and acts as though it is already theirs, not someday, but now. The one who doubts speaks in delays and hesitations, as if supply might come, if conditions are right, if luck is on their side. The law makes no provision for luck. It answers only to faith and expectation. You cannot fool it with empty affirmations spoken over a heart full of fear. It responds to the deepest tone of your belief, not the surface sound of your words. If your heart says impossible, while your mouth says it will come, the heart wins, for the heart holds the true command. Faith is not built by straining but by knowing. It is the quiet certainty of one who understands that the source is infinite and that their portion is already theirs in substance, though not yet in sight. Expectation is living as though it were already here, so that when it appears it finds you ready. To expect wealth is to prepare for it, to keep your accounts ready, your opportunities open, your mind alert for ideas and connections. The one who expects a guest makes room for them. The one who does not leaves no space and turns them away. So it is with wealth. If you expect it, you make room for it in your life. If you do not, you fill your life with the clutter of limitation, and it has no place to land. Doubt is the thief that robs your supply before it arrives. It is the silent cancellation of your order to the universe. You may have spoken in faith yesterday, but if you doubt today, you have sent the signal to stop delivery. The law responds to consistency. Faith today, fear tomorrow, faith the next day, fear again. This is the life of the double-minded, and the double-minded receive nothing, for their command changes too often for the law to fulfill it. The ones who live in constant increase are not necessarily the cleverest or the most educated. They are the ones whose faith is steady and whose expectation never wavers. Faith does not ask how, it simply knows. The how belongs to the source, and it is not your business. Your business is to believe and to expect. When you demand to know how before you believe, you have stepped out of faith into calculation, and calculation operates only in the realm of what you can see. Faith operates in the realm of what you cannot yet see. Expectation keeps your hands open to receive without dictating the method. If you believe you can receive only through one channel, you close yourself off from the 1,000 other channels that are ready to deliver. The universe can bring your provision from directions you have never imagined. Your part is to hold faith for the result, not for the root. To live by this law is to speak as one who has already received. You give thanks before the gift appears. You praise the supply before it shows in your account. This is not pretending, it is aligning with truth, for in the realm of spirit, your supply already exists in full measure. Expectation draws it into the realm of form. Just as a seed in the ground is already a tree in essence, your desire in the soil of faith is already fulfilled in essence. Expectation is the sunlight and water that bring it into visible growth. Some expect loss more than they expect gain, and so they meet loss. They speak constantly of what might go wrong, of the bills they cannot pay, of the opportunities that might vanish, and they are surprised when life answers with proof of their fears. The law makes no distinction between faith in plenty and faith in loss. It simply returns to you what you believe in most strongly. Worry is faith in the negative. It is the expectation of shortage. Reverse it, and you will reverse your results. Fill your mind with the expectation of surplus, and surplus will come. You cannot merely try this law for a week and abandon it when you do not see instant results. Faith and expectation must be the permanent climate of your mind, not a passing weather. The one who plants a seed and digs it up each day to see if it is growing will never have a harvest. The one who plants and leaves it in the ground, watering and trusting will. Your mind is that ground. Your expectation is the watering. Your faith is the warmth that draws the life up through the soil. You hold the climate steady, and the law will do the growing. When you understand this, you stop chasing money and start attracting it. You know that chasing is the act of one who doubts they will receive unless they run it down. Attraction is the quiet authority of one who knows that what they expect must come, and it comes to them without strain. You carry yourself as one who already has, and in time, the outer world conforms to the inner picture. That is the law. Faith and expectation together form the mold, and life pours itself into that mold with exact precision. If you want, I can now roll straight into the law of gratitude and praise in the same tone, so your series keeps its force and rhythm unbroken. That way, by the time you reach all 7 laws, it will feel like one relentless flow of authority. Should I continue? Gratitude is the magnet of increase, and praise is the song that multiplies your blessings. When you give thanks for what you have, you lock it into your possession. When you praise it, you cause it to expand. Nothing flourishes under complaint, but everything grows under gratitude. The moment you grumble about money, you put a shadow over your supply. The moment you thank it, you open it to sunlight. You may think you wait for more before you give thanks, but in truth, more waits for you to give thanks. The law responds instantly to a grateful spirit, for gratitude is the signal that you are ready for greater things. There are those who say they cannot be grateful until they have the wealth they desire, but they have it backward. Gratitude is the cause, not the result. Praise is the fuel that drives the law to deliver more. The one who gives thanks for a single coin as if it were a treasure will soon have more coins than they can count. The one who despises small beginnings will stay at small beginnings. Every increase starts with gratitude for the seed. If you cannot praise the seed, you will never hold the harvest. The universe does not pour more into a vessel that complains it is too small. It pours into the vessel that overflows with thanks for whatever it holds. Gratitude is not merely polite manners, it is a spiritual force. When you give thanks for what you have, you are affirming that you live in an abundant world, and that affirmation shapes your reality. Praise lifts your mind into harmony with the source of supply, and in that harmony, the flow is free and unblocked. You cannot praise and complain in the same breath. The stronger will drive out the other. Choose praise, and lack will wither away. Choose complaint, and blessings will wither in your hands. The law is exact and impartial. The grateful soul finds reason to give thanks before the manifestation appears. They praise the provision before they see it, knowing that the act of praise is part of the creation. This is not flattery to the universe, it is alignment with truth. In spirit, your supply is already yours. Gratitude simply aligns you with the place where you can receive it. Praise is the celebration that calls it forth faster. It is the open door, the welcome sign, the light in the window that says to your good, "Come in, I am ready for you." The ungrateful soul closes the door. They count what they do not have and overlook what they do. They speak more of what is missing than of what is present, and so life brings them more of the missing. They may work harder, push more, strive more, yet the law will not deliver until the climate of their mind changes to gratitude. Work without gratitude is toil without increase. Action without praise is effort without multiplication. The seed must be planted, yes, but it must also be blessed. Praise transforms the atmosphere of your mind. Where there is heaviness, it brings lightness. Where there is fear, it brings faith. Where there is stagnation, it brings movement. You cannot remain in a state of praise and feel poor at the same time. The vibration of praise is the vibration of abundance, and it will draw abundance as surely as a magnet draws iron. This is why the habit of daily gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for building wealth. When you wake, give thanks. When you spend, give thanks. When you receive, give thanks. Let no transaction pass without the seal of gratitude. You need not wait for a reason to praise. Praise itself will create the reason. Give thanks for the opportunities that have not yet arrived, for the increase you have not yet seen, for the supply that is already moving toward you. Speak it as if it is already here, because in the realm of spirit, it is. Gratitude in advance is the highest form of faith, and faith draws results into form. The one who waits to see before they praise will wait long. The one who praises before they see will see sooner. When you give thanks for money, you remove the sting of fear from it. Money becomes a friend, a willing partner in your life, rather than a taskmaster you fear to lose. You stop chasing it as if it might escape you, and instead welcome it as if it were always meant to be with you. Gratitude makes money feel at home with you. Praise invites it to stay and to bring its friends. The flow of supply loves a joyful receiver, for joy is the proof that you trust the source. Those who master this law do not measure their gratitude by the size of their bank account. They measure it by the constancy of their thanks. Whether the purse is full or nearly empty, they give the same praise, because they know that praise will fill it. They bless the bill they must pay, knowing that the very act of blessing turns it into a seed for greater income. They thank the coin they put in a beggar's hand, knowing that coin will return multiplied. They praise the ideas that come to them. the work they have, the people who help them, and by this constant praise, they live in a continuous cycle of increase. The law of gratitude and praise is not a suggestion, it is a principle as certain as the rising of the sun. You cannot outgrow it, you cannot bypass it, you cannot ignore it without losing the flow of increase. When you find yourself tempted to complain, turn to praise instead. When you are faced with a bill, bless it instead of cursing it. When you feel the pull of fear, drown it in thanks for the provision already on the way. Gratitude and praise are the language of wealth, and the more fluent you become in them, the richer your life will be. Your inner voice is the map to your gold, and every time you delay in following it, you delay your supply. Intuition is the voice of the infinite speaking directly to you, guiding your steps in the shortest path to your good. It does not argue, it does not plead, it simply directs. When you obey without hesitation, you walk in the current of provision, and things unfold in your favor with a precision no human planning could match. When you ignore or postpone, the path becomes tangled, the opportunities slip away, and the flow of your supply is slowed. The law of obedience to intuition is exact. It rewards the quick and certain response and withholds from the doubtful and hesitant. Intuition speaks in quiet certainty, not in the noise of fear or the chatter of reasoning. It is the sudden knowing to speak to a certain person, to take a certain road, to make a certain call, to accept or reject a certain offer. It is the gentle nudge that does not shout but carries a weight of truth that cannot be reasoned away. Obedience is not waiting until you understand every detail. Obedience is trusting the source enough to act on the first step, knowing the next will appear as you move. The one who waits for the full picture before obeying will often wait forever, for intuition works on the law of unfolding. It reveals only what is necessary for the step at hand. This law requires trust, for intuition often points toward what appears illogical or inconvenient. It may tell you to give when you feel you should save, to speak when you would stay silent, to move when you would rather remain still. But the source sees the whole, while you see only the part. The mind works from cause to effect, intuition works from completion backward. It already knows the outcome and directs you accordingly. When you follow it, you align yourself with the perfect chain of events that lead to increase. When you refuse, you break the chain and must wait for another opportunity to be placed in your path. Many lose their fortune because they talk themselves out of the quiet instruction they first received. They weigh it against their fears. They ask for the opinion of those who do not share their vision. They delay until the moment passes. Intuition does not wait for your convenience. It waits for your obedience. The moment you feel its direction, act. Action is the proof of trust. The universe responds to movement, and intuition is always movement toward your good. Even when it leads you through what seems like loss or change, it is clearing the way for increase. There are countless channels through which your supply can come, but you will never find them by logic alone. Logic can plan only with what it knows. Intuition opens the doors you do not yet know exist. It leads you to the contact that connects you to the contract, to the idea that turns into the income, to the place where your provision is waiting. The law of obedience is the law of direct connection between your source and your supply. To ignore it is to cut yourself off from the very guidance that was designed to bring you prosperity without needless struggle. To cultivate obedience to intuition, you must quiet the noise of fear and the constant pull of outer opinion. The still, small voice is easily drowned out by the loud demands of doubt. The more you listen and obey, the clearer it becomes. The more you hesitate and refuse, the fainter it grows. The law will not shout at you to get your attention. It will let you walk your own hard road until you are willing to hear and follow. But when you are ready to obey at once, the way becomes smoother, the delays fewer, the provisions quicker. Those who prosper without strain are those who move quickly on the direction they receive. They do not argue with it. They do not announce it to those who will talk them out of it. They do not wait for every condition to be perfect. They recognize that obedience is the signal to the universe that they trust the supply to be there when they arrive. This trust is rewarded with perfect timing, the meeting that happens at just the right moment, the opportunity that appears just when needed, the provision that arrives before the need becomes urgent. Obedience to intuition is not limited to large decisions. It operates in the smallest steps. The impulse to stop at a certain place, to pick up a certain book, to follow up on a certain idea. These are often the very threads that lead to increase. The habit of obedience in small things strengthens your ability to obey in larger things. Those who wait for only grand instructions to act upon miss the gold hidden in daily guidance. The law is always working, always directing, always leading you toward your good, but you must be in the habit of following without delay. When you obey intuition, you place yourself in the flow of right place, right time, right people. Opportunities seem to find you instead of you chasing them. Solutions appear without strain. The way opens before you as if by unseen hands. This is not coincidence, it is the law responding to your obedience. To the outside world, it may look like luck, but you know it is alignment. You are moving in step with the guidance that sees the whole path. The greatest fortunes have been built by those who obeyed a quiet impulse that others ignored. The greatest losses have come to those who sensed the warning but refused to act. This law carries both the promise of increase and the protection from loss. It is the voice that tells you when to step forward and when to step back, when to give and when to receive, when to hold and when to release. To ignore it is to invite unnecessary struggle. To obey it is to walk the shortest road to your good. Money is never at the mercy of chance, it is at the mercy of your alignment with law. These laws are not suggestions, they are the unseen framework of every fortune. They do not bend for circumstance, they do not pause for doubt. They work with perfect precision for those who obey and turn against those who defy. Your thoughts, your words, your faith, your gratitude, your giving, your obedience, your right action, these are the keys that unlock the vaults of infinite supply. Keep them in harmony, and you walk in a constant stream of provision, guided, protected, and multiplied in all you do. Break them, and you will feel the drought of your own misalignment. The choice is never outside you, the choice is always within. Speak only abundance, see only abundance, expect only abundance, act only in obedience to the voice that leads you. The laws are exact, the results are certain. Your money is not your master, it is your servant, and it will go where you command it, when you command it under divine law.